Slavica, and she's a head of information promotion and support department in the Republic of Social Protection in Serbia. And thank you, Tatjana Lazor Obradovic. She's an MA in political science and social psychology, and has been working as an NGO activist and expert in social protection and inclusive development for over 15 years.
Imagine you are entering a bank, worried and with great expectations. You need a credit as soon as possible and have no idea which papers you need to have in order to get it. Behind the bank counter, there are sitting 3 bank employees. One of them nice looking, nice dress, nice makeup, smiling at you. Next to her is sitting a calm lady, polite, without any movement. And the third one is cold, and by the look she put at you, you can easily recognize she is not happy to see you at all. Which of them you are going to ask for a credit? In the situation that happened to me, and it started just like this one, I, as you can guess, approached the young lady smiling at me, asking for explanation. But it's turned out that her knowledge wasn't enough, and she had to ask for additional question, this calm and unpolite lady. And you know what? This unpolite lady, she helped me the most. Although, as you can guess already, without a smile. But no matter, she helped me the most. In any situation, I probably would never ask her for support, because she didn't like, she's ready to listen to me and she's ready to give me any answer I'm going to ask for. Why she did unwilling to support? Why she seems to me neither didn't recognize that she is capable and willing to support me, trained psychotherapist, capable to see what others may not see. Because her body language, her smile, her face, her attitude, everything was opposite. You know what? At our faces is not written how professional we are, how experienced we are, how capable, and how ready to support and to give proper answers on any questions our customers may ask. But what can be seen on our faces is our readiness to listen and to be on support to other people. This is something which can be seen even by child asking for help in situations they need help. Now imagine that you are 12 years old boy. You are living with your mother because your parents are divorced, and day by day you are suffering from teasing from your classmates because they tease you because of the pimples on your faces. When you try to defend yourself, the teasing getting stronger, and this morning the 2 guys dragged you for your hair in front of other boys, and you couldn't do anything. You were totally lost, afraid, and everybody were laughed. Nobody helped you. In the school, there are 2 ladies, psychologist and pedagogue, and both of them are very polite whenever they approach you. But their office is in the middle of the school building. In case you will enter their office, everybody will and after that, suffer even more. The main teacher is an old lady. Maybe she will understand, maybe she will support you, but usually she doesn't have enough time for additional questions. The guy who is teaching your physical education, he is the guy, maybe you can talk with him. And actually, whenever you have some problem, you put some questions and he used to answer properly. But physical education is a Friday and today is a Tuesday. And your friends, your two best friends, they are trying to assure you that it's better for you to stay calm, not to ask anything, to be silent. Otherwise, you may suffer more. To whom you are going to turn to ask for support? This is not a story we just invented for this situation. This is one of the stories Tanya and myself have heard while we were conducting this research. And this story causes some research questions we raised. Mainly, first of all, to whom children will turn to in order to ask support, to whom they trust in situations of violence. The results we gained didn't make us happy. We determined that children do not trust the institutions, and when it's difficult for them, they prefer to find out somebody they trust to ask and to speak with, or what is more or less mostly situation in Serbia, they prefer to be silent, to suffer, and to think that violence somehow will pass. But about the results, Tanya is going to speak to you more. I am now going to just remind you, think about this bank employee. Be the smiley one. Let children be sure that you are on their side in any case, and that you will support them, that you will be ready to listen what they would like to say, and that you will be able, together with them, to find out the best solution for their best interest. Tanya is going to convince you how important trust in institutions is. Thanks.
Slavica, thank you for this wonderful presentation. Very, very empowering. Can we hand over to Tatjana?
Thank you. Back in the 70s of the 20th century, a long time ago, a girl was born. She was born in a socialist country. She lived with her parents, sister, 2 cats, 2 dogs, you know. And when she was 4 years old, she decided to go out from her home and to visit her parents at their work. And she crossed all around the city and walked to the company where her parents worked. And her parents were totally panicking because they were, of course, worried how she managed to come to the office where they were working. But when I remember these days, I remember that, and I even remember that event, because you see, this girl, it was me. I remember the the moment when I crossed the street and the traffic lights in the city center and the people I met and who took me for my hand and took me to my parents. And that was the time when people knew, everybody knew each other, everybody knew where everybody worked. It was a small city and we actually felt safe, both in the street, in the institution, in communication with people around us and our neighborhood. And when I speak today with children, I can see, especially children from small community, and we did that during this research. We spoke to children and they said very similar thing. They believe to their parents and the home is the safest place for them. Then they trust to the school, but not to the school as institution, but individuals in the school. And then they trust their neighbors. That's when we are talking about the small community. But when I come back to the time I was describing from the last century, I remember that people also trusted to the institutions. There was out of question to even discuss about the decisions or news that were distributed through media and directed from the police, from schools, from health centers or centers for social work. My parents and my neighbors absolutely trusted to everything that was presented to them through media. Of course, there was only one TV channel, only one newspaper, and there was no such pluralism and of the sources of information and the channels of communication. So today, from this perspective, this seems so far away from me because today we have so much channels of communication, so much opportunities to learn about the institutions, to learn about each other. But when you talk to children, one of the most prominent answers when they describe the institution is actually the lack of trust. And when we ask them why, it was not the particular word that they used, the trust, but they were talking about unresponsiveness of institutions, lack of sensitization of institutions on the needs of children. For example, a boy told me if his friend, who is son of the police officer, if he was the perpetrator, he would be protected rather than the victim. So he told me there is no point to call the police, or they are like emergency. Whenever you need them, they are not there. And then the other girl, she was talking about the centers for social work. And that was a very common opinion among children, that centers for social work are the institutions that are taking away children from parents, from poor parents, only because of the poverty. And you can see when you go deep into discussion with children, why their opinion is like that. There are several factors. It's their personal experience, the influence of adults, what they hear from their parents, from their neighbors, from their cousins. And then there is a general perception, at least in our country, about the institutions, that they are generally sluggish and insufficiently sensitized to the needs of children. And we wanted to talk about the trust in the school as the institution. Children trust to individuals, and of course it's okay, they should have persons of trust in their closest environment when they attend their school and when they are in the school. A lot of children told, for example, that their head teacher, that she's like a mom to them, that they can talk about anything they want to. But there are some persons that they point out as the persons that are not people they would approach if they were victims of violence. And again, there are people who are not professionals, but are employed in the school. For example, a cleaning lady. A group of girls told me we can talk with her about anything. She listens to us. She speaks to us. And then going back to the reasons of that, is there a consistency in the conduct of the school professionals in the treatment of violence? We have to think about that, because a girl, and again in a boys group, told me, if the teacher was perpetrator, the school would protect him and not the child who is the victim. And that was one of the most striking sentences I heard when I was talking to children. And then I talked to them about how should we change this misperception of institutions, because I still believe that this is misperception, because Caitlin was talking about the misperception too. We should think about how we treat our clients, our pupils, our beneficiaries. What are the things that we can change in the communication and service provision to children? First thing is to change our institutional culture. It's a matter of our values, the matter of how we treat our clients, how we communicate with them. The institutional culture is something that we strategically build and strategically plan. The plan of the visibility of our institutions, the plan of communication with children, which should be child-friendly, which should be youth-friendly, through channels of communication which are available today to us. And there is a richness of channels of communication, but we have to be wise and use them wisely and ensure that these informations and our communication reach them. If we are not school professionals, and I hope that there are many of you today that are not only school professionals, we should be present in schools with teachers, with school professionals, which should be known among children, because we are the faces of the institutions. So increase your visibility, communicate with children. And at the end, if we want to ask, how could we build the trust of children in the institutions? We should ask ourselves, do we really, but really, trust to them and see them as the agents of change and competent actors? Ask ourselves. Thank you.